People mattered to him. Causes mattered to him. Things bigger than himself mattered to him. And if he were ever in a position to do something for another person or a cause that he cared about, his definition of a hero changed after his accident, and it changed to: a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. And while Superman himself is not an ordinary individual, the idea of finding the strength to persevere and endure is what Superman's about. It's what our dad's life is about. It's what everyone's life can be about. And I think that's what this film is about as well.
Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing today?
Hi.
How are you?
We are doing great. Thank you so much for asking. This was such a lovely documentary. You know, learning more about Chris and Dana was just so fantastic, and it had us crying so early in the morning.
Well, you should have watched it at a different time, I guess.
It wasn't my choice.
Will, really quickly as well, congratulations on the Emmys. You killed it on the carpet.
Thank you.
So that's great.
Just for clarity, for those watching, I didn't win any Emmys. I just
No, not yet,
stood
right?
near the red carpet and talked to people who were nominated for Emmys. I had a lot of fun. It was a treat.
That's great. Yeah, no, you did a fantastic job. That was it was a joy to watch. I'm like, oh, we're going to be talking to him later this week. This is awesome.
Here I am.
No
a day off a red eye.
We got to ask, first of all, what surprised you when you were putting together this doc? Did you see any footage or learn any things that you didn't already know about your father?
The entire segment on the making of Superman, the search for talent, who else was in the running to play Superman,
The screen test with the skinny arms.
and the big sweat stains, and the actress who was not Margot Kidder playing Lois Lane. They just uncovered so much great footage of this really foundational time in our dad's life, but also in the arc of that character. So any movie buffs out there are going to love that early storytelling. And then thinking about what it must have been like to be, in his mid-20s, suddenly attached to this rocket ship. You're about to go to global superstardom. That was really fun to revisit and to see it told by the people who were around him and so close at the time.
Yeah, it was definitely really cool to see that footage because it looked so crisp and clear, and you can tell they put a lot of effort in trying to find it. The sweat stains was definitely the most fun part of it.
I inherited the sweatiness gene. Not now.
You're good right now.
I'm fresh right now, but I definitely know where that came from, I guess.
That's awesome.
And there was this incredible team of sort of archive experts who would get, there's some things that had been posted to YouTube and they'd find the original material. So they would sometimes send links and, maybe it made it into the film, maybe it didn't, or they just took a clip, but they'd say, hey, I found this, thought you'd like to see it. And it would be, an interview with Australian television from 1977 that didn't know exist. And so it was really kind of interesting and cool to see these clips that were out there in the world that we weren't aware of. And so that was a really enjoyable part of it.
That's incredible. And yeah, and like we were saying, like seeing all of those compiled together, I think, now like we have an abundance of footage of us and our families that we'll always have forever, but to see it put together the way that it truly was such a moving film for us to watch. And I just love to know for each of you, what quality of your father do you each believe made him Superman on the screen, but off the screen for so many people around the world?
I mean, so many of our dad's qualities made him not only a great Superman on screen, but made him a great father and just a great man generally. I think his honesty, his openness, his determination that had a heavy dose of discipline attached to it, his care for his fellow in real world human beings, because I guess he's not actually a human being in Superman. We don't have to get into that, but his care for people around him, his care for the world generally. People mattered to him. Causes mattered to him. Things bigger than himself mattered to him. And if he were ever in a position to do something for another person or a cause that he cared about, he was going to use his position, his power, his influence, his humanity to do that. And I think that made him that's sort of what Superman is about in a broader way, but that's certainly what made him a hero in real life, and his definition of a hero changed after his accident, and it changed to: a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. And while Superman himself is not an ordinary individual, the idea of finding the strength to persevere and endure is what Superman's about. It's what our dad's life is about. It's what everyone's life can be about. And I think that's what this film is about as well.
For me, I think it's his passion. I mean, he did everything 100%. When you're watching the film, you know, people are going to realize like he learned to fly when he was in his 20s, and he soloed across the Atlantic Ocean twice. He took up riding because he found it, you know, fun while he was working on a movie. And soon he was doing it 6 days a week with a whole level of intensity. As Will said, he was an advocate before his accident as well as after, and became world famous for taking on insurance companies and fighting for disability rights and getting more money into medical research. The man did nothing lightly. It made him a good performer. It made him an intense dad, but also someone who just got so much out of life because he lived every single day to the fullest and never let himself quit. And it's pretty amazing watching that be packaged up in this film, because you see so many different sides of this personality, so many different passions of a guy who was just living life at 100% every single day.
Yeah, I think you guys have said it all, but the only thing I would add is I think his this amazing self-discipline. And in terms of in Superman, that manifests itself in the way he trained for it. And he, every day, he had instructions for his driver: I don't care how much I bitch and moan and how tired I am, you take me to the gym after work every day. So he would always go and work out after doing a full day of shooting to keep out his physique for the role. And then after the accident, that same self-discipline applied in so many ways to, you know, just even, you know, getting out of bed in the morning, to doing physical therapy, to portion control of like food intake. I mean, it's just remarkable. And I think that's another element to it that really kind of feeds into the broader impact of, you know, how he embodied that.
Yeah, you can see it. And what we love so much as well is that, you know, just like Superman, your father's story is about hope. How did you kind of balance, you know, showing this larger than life alter ego while also trying to show the more human and vulnerable moments as well?
That's a question more for the filmmakers than for us. We're so grateful that they found that balance, but we did not put our thumb on the scale for the content or even the composition of the film, other than to each individually sit for interviews and hand over all of our archive. We let them take it from there, and our trust was rewarded. But we believed in their vision. They executed on their vision. But how they came to that vision is perhaps a mystery that will never be solved. I'm just glad.
Well, we'll ask them. So
I'm glad I'm glad that they captured on the hope part is that it wasn't some abstract. It's not rainbows and puppies, right? He actually acknowledged that life was hard. He acknowledged that there were days where he didn't feel like getting up in the morning, that it wasn't easy, and he would be vulnerable, but he got himself out of bed anyway. So hope is, you know, continuing to persevere in spite of those overwhelming circumstances and finding the joy even in those hard moments. And that's something that we grew, like, that's true resilience, right? And that's something that we grew up with very much is, you know, you're realistic about the challenges and yet you still find the joy and you find your way through. And that's a really powerful thing for him to share with the world.
Definitely. We're so excited for the world to see this film. Congratulations to all of you. We're just so grateful for you all to share your time. And for Will, we cannot wait to see, you know, your little moments in Superman next year as well, too. So
Thanks. We'll talk.
Very excited for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.